Ubisoft is yapping once again, to the surprise of no one, I think. Like, you'd think if people generally consider you to be one of the worst companies in gaming, the move would be to just shut up, right? To just like stop talking about anything, to just silently make and develop your games, and then just pull yourself back a little bit. But somehow, Ubisoft just can't shut up. They just can't. And they keep talking about various different things, some of which we're going to talk about today, that keeps putting them in a worse and worse light. It's crazy how they keep digging themselves an even bigger hole with almost, it seems like every passing month. So it turns out Ubisoft is now also confirming to be aware of the Stop Killing Games campaign, which is absolutely a good thing. We're actually looking pretty good here. Like, we're almost at 1,400,000 signatures, which was kind of like the goal we really wanted to hit, to make sure that all of the invalid signatures that will eventually get subtracted will make it so that we still have at least 1 million valid signatures. So this is looking really, really good. And the month isn't even over yet. So this is great. But if you haven't signed it, keep signing it. Once again, the links are in the description for this EU Citizens Initiative. And the head of Ubisoft has now responded to this campaign and has also said a couple of words on the crew and its shutdown, which we're going to get into right now. So this report comes from Dustin Bailey, nice first name, on GamesRadar. Ubisoft CEO addresses Stop Killing Games after overseeing the deaths of the crew and X-Defiant. Support for all games cannot last forever. Now, the headline already speaks volumes here, and I think this is like the classic deflection I've heard so many times at this point. The point of Stop Killing Games and that entire campaign is not to have these live services just run continuously forever. We know that is not feasible, right? The point is to provide some kind of alternative to still play the game past the point of support. So that could be either an offline mode or a distribution of private servers, or some kind of info on how to run this game peer-to-peer in the future, like literally anything. Like, the entire point of the campaign is that this kind of stuff is left up for the publishers and developers to figure out. It's not even about like enforcing a certain kind of way of doing things, let alone supporting that these services will be kept running forever, but really that publishers and developers, if they run a service like this or an online-only game, they need to provide some kind of solution at the end of it when they want to cut the support. That is literally all this is about. And all of this is being left up to publishers and developers to figure out. They can figure out the cheapest, easiest way to do this. Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot was asked to respond to the movement at a recent shareholders meeting. And this is what he had to say. Regarding the petition, we operate in a market. Life-changing words. I gotta clap on this. Life-changing lines here. We operate in a market that has the same energy as we live in a society. It's like we live in a society of business. Yeah, great observation. What am I even supposed to say to this? And whenever we release a game, we provide a lot of support for that game. We also provide a lot of services to make sure that the game is accessible and remains playable 24/7. Yeah, except in cases where the servers are down, and in a couple of years when they don't feel like running it anymore. Guillemot says that the company provides information regarding the game, whatever that means, and how long the game can be played. This is literally a lie. This is literally not true. I think what he means with this, though, is that before, let's take the crew as an example. Before the crew got shut down, a month earlier, they had an announcement where they explicitly said, like, hey guys, the game is gonna get shut down on this day. Make sure to play it until then. I think this is what he talks about how long the game can be played, but this is not exactly what that means. Saying they provide information about how long a game can be played would imply they provide that information right away and not like a couple weeks before the service gets shut down. Like, it's not, okay, maybe I detract this, it's not exactly a lie, but it's a really, really weird misconstruction of the truth. Hey, it's me from the edit. Just to make a quick intermission because I came up with something while editing this part. This also completely neglects the fact that they not only just took away access to the game, but also the game files themselves, which was never implied anywhere. So if you still have the game on, let's say, Ubisoft's own platform, at some point they completely stopped the ability to even download the game. This happened a couple days after the actual shutdown of the game, by the way. Obviously, they are only doing this to prevent, or at least to heavily slow down the creation of non-offline mode. And even if it exists, then as few people can play it as possible, because not many people have the files anymore. None of this was ever communicated anywhere, and it's also not even covered by the end-user license agreement, which we're gonna hear more than enough of later on. But yeah, just decided to throw that in there. Okay, but this is where things get really interesting. The crew did have a badge on its front box noting online connection required. The sentence goes on here, but let's just take this for now. That is just a lie. That is just literally not even true. That is like, there were boxes, prints off the front cover that did not have this notice. So this is the PS4 box cover in the UK at launch. This is what you saw on shelves if you wanted to go to a GameStop or whatever to buy the game on launch. This is how the game was sitting on the shelves. There is no notice here. There is nothing here. The only notice you could find is at the very back of the box. Now, this is not the PS4 version anymore. This is the Xbox 360 version, but same thing here. Now tell me, I'll give you like 10 seconds. Where on this box does it say that this game requires an internet connection? Where? I'll give you 10 seconds to find it. Here, I'll even zoom it in for you. Where? Where in this garbled mess of words and fine print does it say that anywhere? Right? I'll tell you, it says it right here. Like these weird green boxes here, right there. Online only. They're in the middle. After a bunch of other crap. Like, it's just... To say that this isn't consumer friendly would be underselling it tenfold. And even then, online only, okay, does not imply that the game will cease to function at some point. Because there have been online only games that still work to this day. Case in point, Gran Turismo Sport. Also an online-only title, and I'm pretty sure it said so on the box somewhere. But once again, online-only doesn't imply that the game ceases to function in a few years down the line. It all comes down to how this is being handled by the publisher. And Ubisoft just handled this really, really poorly. Now, I will add on to this, it seems like on reprints of the game, as you can see here, it does actually say that you need an online connection on the front box cover. Once again, this is a reprint because it has like an IGN accolade on here. Also, this is the US cover as seen by the ESRB rating here. So on some covers, it did say it on the front box. Now, I don't actually give a crap about any of this because here is the store page. Like, this is an official German electronics store. It's kind of like the Walmart of electronics for us in Germany. This is how The Crew 2 is currently being sold. And once again, this isn't like a small retailer or a small shop. This is like literally one of the biggest places you can buy physical games from. Where's the notice? Where? Like, actually, where? This is how they're selling this to this day. And I scrolled down and tried to find any kind of information on an online. There's nothing here. No, nowhere, nothing. If you read through all of this is translated, by the way, if you want to pause, just one in case you're wondering. If you want to read through this entire thing, you're not going to find even a hint of information that an online connection is required to play this game. And even less so, that it implies, or there is a chance that it means that you can't play the game anymore in the future. Like, this is just complete bullshit. Like, they're bullshitting their way through this entire situation, and they're lying through their teeth. This is crazy to me. Now let's continue the sentence from earlier that I did interrupt. I'm gonna start it from the very beginning. The Crew did have a badge on its front box noting online connection required. We already know that's not true for every box, and even to this day, they're still selling games online where you get zero information on this. And I notice in the fine print on the back that Ubisoft may cancel access to one or more specific online features upon a 30-day prior notice. Once again, this is not true. This is not true. We can look at the box here. You're not going to find this anywhere. What they're referring to is the end user license agreement, which is this massive, like, multi-page long document that you have to agree to before you get into the game. And once again, like I talked about this in a previous video, it's bullshit because you cannot read this end user license agreement until you've already bought the game. There's nothing, like, why are you agreeing to use something when you've already bought it before you even were able to get this information? Like, this is bogus here. Also, like, access to one or more specific online features. Dude, you canceled access to the entire thing, not just one or more specific online. You broke the entire thing, dude. The entire game isn't accessible. I can't even get past the fucking title screen, dude. And once again, it only says this in the end user license agreement, which once again, you can only actually read in the fucking game. Or maybe, if I'm being very, very, very charitable, there's like a small little pamphlet in the box. But even that doesn't matter because new boxes are sealed and you can only take the seal off after you've bought the game. So none of this is relevant or works how he like tries to portray it. But hey, at least the head CEO provides some alternative, some solution for this entire problem. Gear Mode cites a €1 fee proposed to all buyers of the game. For just €1, they got to buy the next version. So what he's referring to is a sale that they ran on The Crew 2, which is also an online-only game. So it doesn't even address the issue at all. I don't know what the point of bringing this up is. So you can see the price history of the game on Steam, and you see that between September 10th and September 23rd, the game was actually sold for just €1. But who cares? Like, they already sold the game for way more since then. Like, the lowest they've been going is $9. I think this was, I don't know what the point of this was in the first place, but like, how is that a solution? Yeah, just buy the next game, dude. It's not like The Crew 1 had its unique content, unique storyline with very well done cutscenes and whatnot. Did they actually think it's just the same fucking game? Do they actually think The Crew 2 is just like some update on the first one? And then you can just buy that? And even then, you missed your window now? You missed the opportunity to buy this game for €1, so... I don't get what they're talking about here. And then he says it's not a whole lot of money to be able to continue playing the game. It's not the same game! It's not the same game! I don't give a damn about The Crew 2. The Crew 2 sucks! I want to play the first game, the one that I bought with my full money. You actually think it's like, does he actually think it's the same game? I have to at this point, I have to be convinced he actually thinks it's the same game. Moving on, but this kind of issue is not specific to Ubisoft, Guillermo continues. All video game publishers are faced with that issue. You provide a service, but nothing is written in stone, and at some point the service may be discontinued. Nothing is eternal. Except all the old games from like the PlayStation 2 era and before that you got to buy on a disc that you can still put into a console or like put digitally on your PC and emulate it there. Oh yeah, other than that, nothing is eternal, yeah. Other than those like thousands and thousands of games in the past that you could still play to this day, nothing is eternal. What are you talking about? And we are doing our best to make sure that things go well for all players and buyers. Bullshit, you don't. Because obviously support for all games cannot last forever. No one is asking for this. I don't know. This is what annoys me so much about this like entire stop killing games discourse. That is not the goddamn point, man. Like, why is everyone bringing this up? We don't want these services to be continued on forever. Like, do they not get this? This is like such a basic fundamental thing. It feels like they purposely try to gaslight themselves and hopefully as many other people as possible to believe that this is what the campaign is about, when it literally isn't. Like, this is the Pirate Software classic, dude. Like, dude, my god, dude. In fact, the writer of this news article rightfully points out, the goal is, it says so in the campaign's FAQ notes, the goal is to get publishers to implement an end-of-life plan to modify or patch the game so that it can run on consumer systems. Exactly. Like, even if a server gets shut down, like, that's fine. Like, as long as there's some kind of plan or solution in place that the game at least remains in a reasonably playable state, that is more than fine. But yeah, I think what was really obvious with the last couple of things that he was saying, like the head CEO was saying, is that this is just like this is an industry-wide problem. Okay, it's like nice that you acknowledge this, but you run one of the biggest gaming publishers in the world. You should be at the very forefront of coming up with some kind of solutions for this. To say, oh yeah, this affects everyone. Everyone has to deal with this problem. How does that wash your hands, dude? In fact, you just make this problem seem really dire, which it is. You know, like, you're actually not even doing yourself a favor at all with this. But yeah, that pretty much covers everything that Ubisoft or their head CEO had to say about the crew and the Stop Killing Games campaign. Once again, it is really, really obvious they're just trying to deflect and gaslight people into just thinking that the campaign is about something else altogether. They do not want to deal with this issue. They just want you to buy the next game. Like, they made all of that painfully clear. They made all of that so crystal clear. They do not give a damn about their own games. They don't give a damn about the people who bought them. They just want you to get the next thing. They don't want to think about any solutions for this because it's we live in a market. We operate in a market, dude. What the fuck? Now, I could obviously go into way more that they said, like, for example, here, Ubisoft claims microtransactions help players experience more fun. What do you even want me to say to this, dude? Like, do I even have to say anything about this? This is, like, Jesus. This is always optional, Ubisoft stresses, but players like to personalize their avatars or progress more quickly. What the fuck happened to unlockables, dude? What happened to that? Like, cheat codes? Cosmetics? Like, unlockables? What happened to that? Does that not exist anymore? So, I think this pretty much covers the update on Ubisoft Stop Killing Games and the crew. I will say, with everything that's been said, I am still really glad that the Crew 2 and the Crew Motorfest are both seemingly getting an offline patch. It seems like there's work being put into these now. Apparently there have been some closed beta tests for those already. I think that is generally good, but I will point out, from everything that I've read and seen and heard, it does not seem like this was a Ubisoft decision. This was something that the developers of the Crew games, Ivory Tower, probably had to fight for really hard, and there was probably some underlying agreement that we don't know about that makes it so that they can actually develop an offline mode for these two games. So I don't know, I would definitely love to see both of those games still be available way past their prime in the future. It's just a shame that, you know, even the Stop Killing Games campaign will not ensure this, because one thing you have to know about the Stop Killing Games campaign that is unfortunate, and it's a bit of a necessary evil to make sure that this campaign can and this initiative can still pass into some kind of like legislation, is that it doesn't work retroactively on games that already exist. So any live service game or online only game, whatever, that is out right now will not be protected by any legislation that comes from the Stop Killing Games campaign. This only applies to games that are being released in the future. The Crew 2 and the Crew Motorfest would not be protected by this. So it is actually nice that Ivory Tower probably fought to make like an offline mode ready for these games, and the Crew 1 will never come back in an official capacity. That I can say 100% with 100% confidence. They will never actually bring that game back in an official capacity ever. So I encourage you, if you want to play the first Crew game again, check out the Crew Unlimited project. I'll try to leave another link to that in the description. It's basically a massive community effort to bring the game back online, even like not even just offline, but like online on like community run servers, which is actually shaping up to be almost ready. Like, it's actually probably going to release sometime this year. That's even more great news, and I honestly cannot wait for that, because I think honestly a game that is in the hands of the community is a million times better off. We've seen this with so many other games, but I think for me personally the best example is Need for Speed World, which was a really gross and kinda awful free-to-play Need for Speed game, But now that it is in the hands of the community, you have so many different community servers that have different economy and different features, different races, different blah blah. Like each server is like its own experience in a way, and all of them across the board are better than the base experience because they removed all the microtransactions. Everything is affordable. Everything is earnable. And nothing is pay to win anymore. There's mods in Need for Speed World, so you have more cars now, more cosmetics, more everything. Like I think ultimately a game is always better in the community hands, in the community's hands, than in the publisher's hands. Which, yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to the crew. I'm looking forward for the first crew game to really make a strong comeback with community-run servers, with mods, with everything. And I think that game could really, really live a strong second life once that project actually comes out. So really looking forward to this. But when it comes to Ubisoft, what am I even supposed to say, dude? Ubisoft used to be one of my favorite publishers, man. Like I grew up with Rayman. Rayman was one of my favorite game franchises growing up. And then as a teenager, I was obsessed with Assassin's Creed. And Driver San Francisco, to this day, I think is objectively one of the best racing games ever made. It's at least one of my absolute favorites. It's easily my top 5. So to see them fall this hard, it just makes you wonder, like, what happened, dude? Like, who got replaced at the company for all of this to happen? It's just sad, dude. It's just, like, the more I think about it, it's just sad. So let's just cut it here, guys. Thanks for listening once again. Tell me about your opinion in the comments below about any of this, about Stop Killing Games, the crew, Ubisoft, you name it. I'd like to hear from you. So share your opinion in the comments down below. And until next time, peace. See you guys.